I feel like such a YouTuber in this position. It makes me feel like the thing I have to say is like super fucking serious. And I'm doing that thing again where I just like, I don't know where to put it. I'm like, where does it go? I don't have anything to say. I'm hungry. That's probably why I don't have anything to say. So maybe I'll eat and come back and say something. But I can like feel something that wants to be said. So maybe I'll just start sort of I just never know whether it's like a channel or not. Like whether I'm actually channeling or whether it's just like, yeah, I can feel something that needs to be said. But I don't know where to start. I'm just starting with the leaves that I'm looking at on the trees. Okay, I've been doing art and thinking about surrender and the way that when I am creating art, my pen moves me and I don't really have any control over what it is that I'm drawing. And I find that every attempt that I make to exert a bit more control, it just sends me further away from what I was trying to make the thing be. So like I will draw and I'll be like, oh okay, like, you know, I used to draw and I'd be like, I'm gonna draw a person, and then I would fuck up. I would be so mad at myself. I would have so much resistance. Now I sort of just, yeah, I will let the pen move me towards whatever shape it is that it wants to do. And the moment that I look at it and I go, oh, okay, like, I guess that's a strawberry. I'll start trying to make it like a strawberry. And spirit, I don't know if it's, who's doing the art? Who's doing the art? Whoever it is. I guess in a sense it is still me, but whoever it is like, no, like, and I will fuck up, and it will look less like whatever it was supposed to look like. And it just, as I was drawing today, wait, I'll go and show you what I was drawing. I just realized what a lesson I was being taught about moving with the tides of life, and this thing of the more we try and contort whatever we're doing into one specific thing, the more resistance we are going to encounter, the more spirit's gonna draw a line over that and turn it into something else. And the something else that it's being turned into is never something that we can consciously comprehend or conceive at the time that it's being drawn, which is so fascinating. And it's always like the lines on my page are always bigger than I expect, and they never take me in the places that I want them to. And that's life, baby. That's life. It's literally, to me, just evidence of how futile it is to try and control, and how much more there is when we open our eyes, which sounds so intangible and like woo-woo and stuff, but it's just this idea of the brush strokes and the tides and the seasons and the phases of the moon and all these different things being something that we can dance with, you know? Like, I think surrender gives you so much space for play, and it gives you so much space to interact with what it is that you're surrendering to, because I will surrender to these bigger shapes and these bigger brush strokes, and I find that within that I'm able to infuse my own kind of magic into what it is that the art ends up being, if it ends up being anything. And I think that is the case with life as well. It's a dance of interaction, and I guess that's what co-creation really is. it's relinquishing control and domination and saying, show me something bigger, and I'll play with it, and I'll play in it like a kid playing in puddles, you know, rather than trying to scoop up all the water into a little bucket and the bucket keeps having holes and you're like, fuck! It's like, it's not your water. In a way, it's not even my art, and I think that's so fascinating. I used to encounter a lot of resistance with art, and I actually got quite good at art in the sense that I could replicate something, but it didn't make me happy and it didn't make me satisfied. Look, here's some leaves. To be fair, I find it really fascinating to draw leaves because there is so much richness, but that is a whole other conversation that I could have. So today I started to draw, and I thought I was going to draw a person, and I ended up just with shapes. Like, what I always get is just shapes, right? But as you can see, like, I don't know what this is, and you can see I was writing. I hope you can see. Is it going to be backwards? Maybe I'll post this on my Instagram. I just draw, I start to see little figures within the shapes that I draw, and then I give faces and details and little textures to that. And, you know, rather than setting out to create something, to dominate something, to say I'm gonna do this and this is what it's gonna look like, I just sort of surrender to the swirls of the brush, and then I look at that and I unearth so much. Like, it's fascinating, and it's not just me. That's what I love about losing the ego in the art, is I'm like, it's not just me. I think it's really similar to watching clouds, and I just love the idea that see, like, I didn't know what this was going to turn into, but then I saw this guy and I was like, oh, it kind of looks like a guy. It's similar to watching clouds, and I just love the way that each person, I guess it's very like ink blot test, each person can see something completely different in a cloud, and maybe that says so much about them psychologically, spiritually, whatever, but there's no right way to view any of it. There's no, oh, I drew a really good tree, because, you know, it makes me think of those like, okay, no diss to them, I think it is an incredible thing, but you know when artists will just draw very, very, very detailed sketches of celebrities or people or chairs, and I think that's fantastic, especially, I guess, like, it's so interesting historically because there was so much time when we didn't have photographs and people could see a chair with such an eye for detail that could show other people what a chair looked like. But for so long, what I would draw didn't look like anything, and then I would be like, this is bad. And it's actually really similar to the way that I didn't see myself in anyone else. I didn't think I was conforming to what people expected of me, or what I saw success as, or abundance as, or attractiveness as, you know, like conventional beauty. I didn't see myself in that, and so I thought that I was wrong, inherently wrong, because I wasn't conforming. And now I'm just like, oh my god, like, what's the fun in that? Because I can draw something and someone could see a bird in what I draw. I could start to see a bird in what I draw, and I would think, oh my god, that's so fascinating. I've been influenced by birds. I fucking love birds. I love watching birds. Or it could look like nothing, and then I've given birth to something, you know? No matter how scratchy and icky and messy it is, or how neat, and And there's no, in not labeling it as anything and not restricting it to any single form or identity or name, there's so much freedom, because whatever you see in that is perfect. Whatever you interpret it as is true to you. And then no one has to conform to anything, especially not, the birds are like, hey, do you hear the seagulls? Especially not any definition of right or wrong or good or bad or accurate or incorrect. And now it's like surrender in my art and in my life keeps getting taken to higher and higher, higher and higher levels, where the more I try and go back and turn it into something, control it, dominate it, label it, prescribe it, the more the universe will take me in another direction. And the sharper that direction gets, you know, like the more hard hitting the lesson gets, the more impossible it is to conform to what I used to conform to draw what I used to try and draw, to fit myself in a box that I used to feel like I had to fit myself into. So I just think we should all just like break out of it, personally. I think we should all just be so wild and so free that people find it impossible to label us as anything, you know, like they can try, but it doesn't matter, because we're not trying to be anything except ourselves in our most crazy, dynamic, big expression. And God, I could go on for ages about this, but I spent most of my life feeling like I was not enough, but at the same time that I was too much. And if you still feel like that, I just want you to know that you're not too much. You're just outgrowing a space that could never hold the fullness, the richness, and the beauty and the magic of who you are. And it's hard because we're brought up in spaces that want us to fit into these tight little boxes and tell us that we're wrong if we can't. But you are not wrong. You are miraculous. You are huge and expansive, and that is what you're here for. You're here to, you were birthed like this undefinable, beautiful piece of art to show other people that they can do the same thing. And that is expansion. That is the expansion of the universe. That is co-creation. That's the dance, you know? And it makes it easier to change. It makes it easier to flow, to be dynamic, to accept that nothing is really ever static or confined. Nothing is ever good or bad. You know, like let's just pour all the paints and watch them swirl and celebrate it. You can see this in nature. You can see this in ourselves, you know? And the rigidity creates so much dissatisfaction, control, fear, all of these things, all because we're binding ourselves to these illusionary concepts and constructs that we conflate our identity with. God, sometimes I feel like I use such fucking like academic words. I never really know what I'm saying. I guess that is what it is to channel-ish. So your art, and art wasn't meant to fit in. Art wasn't meant to be the same. Art wasn't meant to be straight and neat. It's fucking messy, and sometimes it's unnerving, but it's beautiful and it's miraculous and it's vibrant and it's dynamic, and that is you. That is you. So if you feel too big, you're just outgrowing something that is too small, too confined, and too limited for the bigness and the beautifulness of who you are. I don't fucking know. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It doesn't have to. That's what I find when I say, like when I speak in these videos. It's like, like, what did I just speak about? Did it make any sense? Somehow it does. You know, it's like somehow it resonates, but not in a way where I can tell you what I'm talking about. I mean, art, I guess. It's why I have such a hard time titling my videos. Titling myself, you know? Like in that other video, it's like, what do you do? Expand, dance, play. Who likes my jellycat cow, by the way? His name is Tumbletoft Cow, and I love him. And I love you, and you are art. Have some fun. And also, you're whole and you're perfect and you're beautiful.